What's up guys, it's Jamie Foy here, and I'm here to talk about my setup. What I skate is obviously Death Wish board, 8.5, and I kind of did create my own shape. I did do a couple different shapes. Like I originally started off with like skating the regular 8.5 that they made, and that has a 32 inches long and a 14.5 inch wheelbase. Once I turned pro and like they kind of gave me the option to try to tweak anything that I wanted, I just talked to J-Bone, and I was talking to him about the B16, which is like a 8.475 size, and I was talking about that board. To me, like, felt like it kickflipped a little better to me than the normal 8.5 that they had, and I found out it was because the wheelbase is shorter, and the B16 has a little bit of a tapered nose and tail, and I kind of like a regular round, not big, but just round nose and tail. So I kind of like morphed the 8.5 and the B16 together and made this board, which is pretty much a 8.5 wide, 32 inches long with a 14.25 inch wheelbase though. So I changed it. I mean, I'm 5'7", not tall, don't have long legs. So to me, like when I'm standing on the board with the short wheelbase, it feels a lot more natural. Like when I'm throwing down, I don't have to look at my board, trying to just set up for whatever trick I want. I kind of just go with muscle memory, and my feet are right where I want them to go. And so I kind of feel like a shorter wheelbase is good for people that want to flip their board and aren't as tall as other people, because some boards have really long wheelbases and it makes it a lot harder to like kick flip per se, just because you got to kick your foot longer. You know, it's just a longer distance from the inside to the outside of the board. The last thing I did was I made it a twin tail, just because I mean I don't skate nollie or switch a whole lot. I skate fakie and regular, and I'm not used to the whole nollie timing because the noses are a little steeper than tails usually, and obviously a shod skates a twin tail. Anything a shod does, I kind of like believe them that it's gonna work good. So yeah, once I figured out I could just make a twin tail on the shape that I was already skating, I kind of just went for that. Before I made it a twin tail, it was 31.75 length, and that had a 7-inch nose and a 6.5 inch tail. I pretty much just wanted to make it a twin tail, but I didn't want to go with two 6.5 inch like tails on both sides because it would be a really short board. So to keep it in the right length, I kind of just went with twin nose per se, because they're both 7 inches long, but they have the kicker of a tail. It's like a hybrid, yeah. It's a twin tail because that's how it feels when you're skating it and everything, and it doesn't look like a twin nose. And that's also because my previous shape had a small nose and a smaller tail. Right. So it's like, you know, it's a lot different than the usual board. That's pretty much like with the board and the shape that I skate. I love it a lot. I don't have to worry about like what's the nose or tail. Sometimes if I think on here, yeah, like right here, if I chip the tail at all, or, you know, they're both tails. So if I chip one side of the board, I can just go back to this side and we're good to go. There's nothing on this side. And I kind of try to skate my trucks both the same. I pretty much just don't try to tighten them or loosen them as much as I can and let them break in at first. And then from there, kind of just go with what I think feels good, because they usually come a little loose. Obviously, I'm skating Thunders. Right now, I'm skating the Ish Cepeda, you know.
He was here, he did a board setup,
yep.
And he was like, yo, I'm riding Jamie's truck,
yep.
And Jamie's riding my truck.
Yep, and now we're here. So yeah, now I'm skating Ish's trucks. I was super hyped on this colorway and everything. I mean, obviously Ish is a good friend of mine. We've been skating since we were little kids. And now that we're like, you know, always still hanging out, it's really cool. We're always still hanging out and everything. So I got a truck, and then when he was telling all of us that he got a truck, and I was just like, oh, no way, like so awesome. I love skating anything of the homies, you know, homies graphics, homies wheels. Like these are Pedro wheels, like literally. I'm getting like, I know a lot of the graphic is gone, but I could tell these were Pedro's wheels. Spitfire Formula 4, 54 millimeter Pedro Delfino wheels. I mean, I was never really a big stickler about what I was skating. I pretty much would go with whatever at first. Then I kind of started figuring things out in the sense of like what's better for me, right, in the sense of just having the option to change things up a little bit and understanding like a little bit. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that are really like hectic about boards, like, oh, I won't skate anything else. I mean, if I'm out skating, it's happened a few times. If I'm out skating and I break a board and it's somewhere that I don't have any more boards and I need to go to a shop, thankfully they have a B16 like I was talking about, and it's pretty similar to this shape. So it's not too bad, and I can skate that no problem. I won't really notice a difference. Obviously the difference mainly would be the nose and tail. Like the tail will be a little smaller, but other than that, like I'm not a big stickler when it comes to like my setup, but I kind of figured out what I like through time, talking to J-Bone at Death Wish, and, you know, just listening to Andrew talk about his board, he's a really big stickler when it comes to boards and setups and everything. Like, thankfully, I'm not like that, but I'm just like, more, I would like to just like not really care about my setup, but know about it. So that way I could like tell like what I have to do for certain different tricks, or like, you know, it helps me like try to figure out tricks. Because if I'm always skating the same setup, then I can try to like learn tricks better, more consistent and everything. I don't want to have a guessing game. Like, you skate 2 different brand boards. I don't want to say any kids out there like don't try different brands, but it's gonna happen. Like, if you get 2 different brand boards, you switch brands, like it's gonna be a little different. You know, like steepness of the board, nose, the width of the nose, the height of the nose, the width of the tail, the height of the tail, the timing, like, you know, it all makes sense in a way, but thankfully as a kid, like, you don't really have to know about it. You kind of just go with what you want, and then some kids, you know, they stick to what they like some kids like skate straight Death Wish Baker boards, some kids skate straight real crooked anti-hero boards, you know. It's just like, it really depends on the person and what they like. Some people like a really steep nose and want different things, but me, I just like a mellow board, wide board. I skate a lot of rails. I want to make sure my pop is consistent, and I want to make sure I have a lot of board to land on, because it makes me feel more stable. Death Wish has all types of boards. Like, they got the mellow concave, they got steep concave, they got it's this thing called like B squared. It's like a more squared nose. Obviously, a lot of different board companies like Baker, Death Wish, Real, Crooked. They all have a lot of different shapes, a lot of different things that will cater to anybody. This one's a mellow one. So Baker Death Wish boards, they're made by Bareback, which is down in Mexico, and I think it's like the best board makers ever. This shape, like, that's the thing, some people skate different shapes that you can't buy. Like, my other previous shapes I had, no one, like, we didn't make them, so you couldn't really buy them. But now this shape that I skate now can be bought. It's a Death Wish graphic. It's the Foy graphic with the gator face, the gator logo. So I'm really hyped on that graphic, and it has like little Death Wish and like heat presses on it. It's embossed wood, so it's a really cool board, and it's a really good board. I mean, it's the shape I skate. So if you guys want to try out the shape that I skate when it comes to like my skateboard, you guys should go get that graphic. I think we have a new color coming out too. The new one coming out is blue with the green gator, so I'm really stoked on that. Seems like a lot of people like the graphic, and I hope people like the shape. I mean, if you guys go out there, try it. You gotta understand too, if you're really tall, it might not work for you, because I got short legs. You can't compare everyone to the same. Not everyone's the same. But if you guys got the same stature of me, like, you might like this board. I think of it's a 8.5 that skates like an 8.25 because of the wheelbase. And then when it comes to trucks, I skate Thunders all the time. I usually like the Raws. I want all this stuff. I want the tall base plate. I don't want the thin base plate. If I have a thin base plate, I'm worried about it locking up on rails or ledges or something. So I don't skate lights or anything. I'm not worried about weight. I like the weight, because if you're flipping, you know, more weight that goes up, there's more weight that comes down. It might actually make your board flip a little quicker in my mind, like rather than just light trucks that are kind of just like all over the place. I want some weight to feel solid. These are 149. I used to skate 151s back in the day, but after the Death Wish video, I changed the 149s. And I just wanted to switch it up. I don't know. I was just like, oh, I wonder if maybe my tray flips will be a little better. And I mean, they feel a little better, but it's nothing really noticeable. And that's another thing that I noticed. Like, when I try things out and I think it would work, such a different, like, I'd be like, oh, it's gonna be such a difference. And I really changed it up, and it's not really that much of a difference. So it's pretty much just to each his own. I do have 2 setups. Like, I keep a setup in Florida and I keep a setup in California, just so I don't have to travel back and forth with the board if I'm just going home and coming here. So, I mean, things do get a little inconsistent sometimes, but I mean, I think these are the best. Obviously, like I said, these are the Ish trucks, really cool with the light blue base plate and the light blue clear bushings. Super stoked on that. I think he killed it with these trucks. I mean, a lot of these ones that are the team editions, like, they all skate the same, but I mean, something with like this nice little, yeah, right here, this nice little hinted logo. I don't like big logos over the trucks. Like, you know, I love stuff like this. This is like a awesome truck. And he killed it with these being these see-through bushings. That's one of the main things for me when it comes to trucks. You get the team editions, but it's like the raw team editions, highs is what I skate, but they have to have the clear bushings. It doesn't matter the color. It could be clear yellow, clear red, clear blue, clear purple. I'm trying to think of the other ones I've seen. Clear green. as long as they're clear, because like that's the ones I think squish the best. I feel like when they put the solid dye in it, it changes the durometer and it just doesn't mush as good, and they're a little stiffer. So if you skate tight trucks, those might be better for you. But I want trucks that wiggle a good amount, and I skate like a medium truck. So transparent wheels, I haven't skated since I was a little kid. I mean, when it comes to wheels, all I'm really skating is Formula 4, Spitfire. 55 is my favorite size, and I kind of don't do the lock-ins anymore, like the radial fulls or the conical fulls anymore. I kind of just like edged off of those a little bit just because of skating around a lot, like traveling. Like sometimes you go to plazas and like the cracks everywhere, like the little sideways cracks and everything. You get tracked, like you're just pushing and you fall. So it's like kind of annoying sometimes. But say if I was gonna go skate like a really long rail or something, like I might change it up. Okay. But I feel like the regular classic shape wheels, 55 are just really good wheels. Like there's enough room to lock in and get out. I mean, after you skate them a little bit, I do like when my wheels are a little wider, so that's the one reason I do like the conicals. But these, once you skate them and they power slide down, they're really good. And I also, like I said, don't really notice a difference when I switch things up. I'll be like, like it's kind of more of a mental game. I feel like if you don't even think about it, you just go skate and skate whatever you want. With grip tape, obviously I always got some shake junt on. This is the one thing I had to get used to with a twin tail is if I skate the big junt, like the S and the, you know, it's like I'm used to seeing it like this, but now I can skate it like this and skate it like this. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just something I had to get used to. But I mean, it's just something I've always, a lot of people are like, man, how do you always skate the big like shake junt? It's just something that like, even to this day, I get gassed up when I see it. I mean, it's just something that like when I was a kid, like I wanted this grip tape so bad. It's like $14 and my mom wasn't really having it, you know, so I'm just stoked that I can ride it all the time and just like, you know, share it with my friends and like all the homies are on it, you know, it's just a big group of good people, good times. But yeah, like with Ish, I've seen Ish grip his grip tape with like whatever and it's all hanging over and I'm just like, oh no, dude, like I care about how my grip tape looks. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves is like when I'm cutting my grip, if I mess it up, like I hate it. My grip tape gets all this wax on it, I hate it. Grip gum kind of works, you know, but I don't have it.
What about the bearings?
Bearings, usually I skate the Bronson Raws, you know. Hey, they've been through some dirt recently, you know. But nah, they're really fast, they go, I love them. They're Raws, so like you hear it right now, like you can hear stuff in there, but like there's no lube in there or nothing, so it's just literally gonna fall out. Like if I went and got towed behind something or just pushed down the street as fast as I could, like they'll be good to go, like pretty much like new. Whatever, in my mind, since there's no lubricant in there, whatever goes in, I don't have the caps on them, because I mean Raws come with no caps. Whatever goes in there can fall out. I just feel like they're like a really solid bearing where I've never really broken, which is crazy. I've heard people breaking bearings. Even any bearing, growing up, I never really broke bearings, except for the really cheap ones. So like, when I like got these, I was like, oh, they're raw, like maybe like since they're raw, a lot of friction and they'll break or something. But no, like when I skate, these things they get me where I need to go as fast as I need to go. And I don't really skate slow, so I feel like it's a pretty good testament to the bearings. And if you can't get the Raws, you could pretty much imitate the Raws with what I said before on a previous 9 Club. Get a regular set of bearings, a regular pair of Bronsons, mine, Pedro's, anyone that's on the team. If you get the ones that have the casing, they got the oil in them. Uncap them, take a little razor blade, pop all the caps off, throw them in some Windex, let them sit for like 10 minutes, and then pop them in, and they're like degreased, you know. Hardware, I'll pretty much skate shake junt or Thunder hardware. I usually skate shake junt hardware. I just love, like, usually it'll be like one yellow, one green. I think this might be some Thunder hardware right now. Okay. But yeah, I mean, always like skating shake junt hardware. Sometimes it's cool when it's yellow and green. They like kind of just go with the grip and everything. But yeah, it's my setup. I know I was explaining a lot, but it is pretty simple. Like, you know, it's a lot going into it, but it's simple, it's good. It works for me. It's just like a 8.5 that skates like a 8.25. It doesn't feel too big and it's not too heavy. But I like the weight. I don't want it to be too light. If it's too light, I feel like it'd be like, not like, you know, when I try flip tricks, it'll like flip somewhere else. You know, I want it to stay underneath me. I want it to go up and come down. So yeah, that's my setup.